Good afternoon, old gun guy here. Today's video, my topic is going to be, excuse me, the scout rifle concept. Something that was developed about 40 years ago by a very prolific gun writer, experimenter, very big influence in the shooting sports and community in the mid to late 20th century. He was a retired Marine Lieutenant Colonel, Jeff Cooper. I believe he's a World War II vet, and he founded the Gun Sight Training Academy in Arizona to teach people how to shoot all manner of firearms, pistols, rifles, shotguns. Very influential guy, very pragmatic guy. His basic concept for the Scout was a rifle that would be a general purpose rifle. One that could be used for hunting, walking around doing duties on a ranch or a farm, a personal protection weapon, a rifle for a soldier on a long, say, covert mission to pack around with him. It had to have, this was his main criteria, it had to be no more than a meter long, which is 39.37 inches, almost 40 inches. The Scout rifle I have here is an older model, Savage, made by Savage, Model 10. But I'll go into that in a minute. His other concept was it shouldn't weigh more than 3 kilograms, which is 6.6 pounds. That was later revised up to like 7.5. It should have backup iron sights, a forward-mounted low-power optic forward of the action, which was novel at the time. Yeah, it did have handgun scopes, and today you have a lot of low-power variable optics, LP, VOs. They weren't in existence back then for the most part. Well, not really popular. So forward-mounted, almost like a pistol scope. They call it a Scout scope. Long iron relief, backup iron sights in case the scope crapped out, sling, detachable, I believe we want a detachable magazine, and the Scout I have is about 20 years old. I bought it new, is when it first came out, by the Savage company, but I go into its features, but first I go into the Savage rifle itself, or the history of Savage. They're still making rifles today. Very fine company, been around since the early 20th century. They made lever actions, bolt action rifles, shotguns. Their their big successful bolt action was the Savage Model 110. It came out about 1958. One of their engineers, and I think his name was Brewer, Nick Brewer, I believe his name was. He developed the Model 110 bolt action rifle, and had a lot of innovative features to make it easy to produce cheaply and affordably for, it's a lower priced rifle. And over the years, a lot of people have looked down at Savage rifles as cheap junk. They're not. Every one I've ever owned over the years has proven to be exceedingly accurate, in hunting the rifle configuration. I did have one in a police tactical type, sniper type package, heavy barreled in 223-556, 110 FP, but I traded it years ago. But that was a tack driver too. My first hunting rifle was a Savage, just a plain Jane 30-06 hunting rifle. Had like a birch stock, and I took 2 deer with that gun. I traded it since, in my early days, but it was an accurate hunting rifle. The name comes from the price point when they introduced it in 58 or 9. It was $110, so it became the Savage Model 110. But they might have even did the 109.99 routine, a penny less than the 110, but that's where the model name came from. The action in length is tubular steel action. It was designed to accommodate 30-06 length cartridges, and later on in its evolution, they shortened it to handle 308 length cartridges, which are about a ½ inch shorter than the 06. And they chopped one of the digits off. The Model 110 became the Model 10 in a short action. They have Model 111s, 112s, and they got Model 11s and 12s. But Savage ran into trouble in the late 80s and went bankrupt. But the company stayed intact. They weren't bought out or destroyed. They came out of bankruptcy and they cut their line down to just the Model 110. And from there they built a successful company that won't exist today, and they produce dozens and dozens of different bolt-action rifle variants. But this is the rifle we're talking about. This is Savage 10 Scout. Like all Savage rifles, bolt action, 90-degree throw. This one has nice jeweling on the bolt and the Savage logo. I'm going to pull the bolt out of the gun. It's got an Accu trigger. This was, Savage introduced about 20 years ago. It's got a paddle lever that lets you have a very fine trigger pull. I forgot to bring the trigger pull gauge out here. I'll do it in the summary. But this is 2 3/4 inch it breaks out, and you can adjust it. And that's the whole purpose of this Accu trigger. 3-position safety is mounted on the tang. Get fire, get intermediate position, and all the way back. All the way back locks the bolt. Can't open the bolt. Intermediate, the gun's on safe, but you can open and cycle the bolt. And the forward position is fire, and get a big red dot. Let me pull the bolt out. Show the design features. You have to push this bolt lever in to take the bolt out and pull the trigger at the same time. Alright, get that bolt out. Cylindrical steel body. They got nice, I guess, laser engraving on there. I don't know how they do that. The Savage logo with the Indian head. That was their logo forever. It's got an interesting bolt, 90-degree throw. It's got a Seiko style extractor and a bolt face, and it's got a plunger type ejector like you'll find on a Remington Model 700 or a AR-15. It's got a 2-piece bolt head here, and it's got a little bit of flex to it by design, so they can make the gun easy to cycle without a lot of any type of bolt binding. These are the locking lugs, the 2 front protrusions. I don't know if you notice you see it twists, but this all rides on the rails until you lock the bolt. And, it turns 90 degrees. But these back lugs just stay in alignment with the raceways inside the receiver. Made them easier, very easy for them to manufacture, and also to change calibers. You can change the bolt head size. You can go to a Magnum bolt face. Obviously this is 3006, 308 size for that family of cartridges. And you can also change the barrel. The way the barrel's attached is kind of has a barrel nut, like a if you can imagine an AR-15. Similar in concept. Put that in to put the bolt back. But this is the barrel nut here. This large nut right before the receiver. It's holding a barrel in, and the advantage of that is it makes it very easy to quickly headspace and install a barrel on a rifle. So it saves a lot of labor and machining time. The same thing with the bolt. And that's how they're able to make an inexpensive rifle. Very functional and useful. Like I said, the Savage company, all their rifles, I believe they're still doing it today, a button rifled. Basically a carbide button with the rifling impression is pulled through the barrel by a rifling machine, and the lands and grooves are ironed right into the steel of the barrel. Makes a very accurate barrel. Like I said, every Savage I've had over the years, currently I only have this Savage, but every one I've had, and this one's an accurate rifle too with the right ammo. Like individuals, rifles have preferences for certain ammos. So what Savage did for this iteration, when they came out with the Scout, And like I said, I got this maybe 22 years ago when it first came out. I think they're in their third generation of the Scout Rifle Savage, and they're also made by Mossberg. I think Springfield has a M14 variant, Squad Scout. Ruger, my uncle had the Ruger Scout, and he's passed on. My cousin has it. 16-inch barrel, very heavy gun though, a lot heavier than this. It's got a light synthetic stock. That has like a heavy laminated wood stock. Nice rifle, shoots nice. There's probably half a dozen companies making them now, the Scout concept. Some of the modern Scouts have a full-length rail, so you can put the normal scope on, or a low-powered variable optic. This just has a forward-mounted rail, and go into that. This particular rifle, blue synthetic stock. The barrel's not pencil weight, nor is it heavyweight. It's in between. It's got a standard target, a hunting crown on the end of the muzzle. That's the front sight. The rear sight is an aperture on the back of the receiver. It's got a Weaver rail before the Picatinny rail became the craze. It's very similar to Picatinny rail, but it doesn't have as many slots. Barrel's free floated right to the receiver, and the synthetic stock has two aluminum pillars, so when you screw the action into the stock, the action is being clamped to the aluminum pillars. User adjustable accu trigger, sling swivels. In Cooper's original concept, he had a chain sling, had an extra sling swivel attachment. It was a special kind of sling. You get into a rifleman's shooting position real quickly with that kind of sling. I just got a normal, regular carry strap hunting sling on this thing. 20-inch barrel, which I like because the 308, you pretty much use all the propellant up by 22 inches. That's probably the most efficient length for the 308, the 7.62 Nato. 16-inch barrel, you get more muzzle blast and less velocity. So 4 inches of barrel is not going to kill you. Still makes a light handy rifle, around a farm, around your private land, out hunting, self-defense. You can rapidly acquire your target with this very low-powered scope. At the time when this rifle came out, Burris was the only game in town, I believe, making a Scout scope. And this is 2 3/4 inch power. It's very little magnification, but you shoot it with both eyes open. I have an ammo sleeve on the buttstock, and I have the scope in worn QD rings. You pull these levers and the scope comes right off, and it pretty much re-zeros. I've done it a few times, and it gets within an inch of 0 at 100. But that's if something happened to the scope. You can pop the scope off, and you have your aperture sights. It's a peep in the back and a post in the front. The gun weighs, as equipped, with I got 9 rounds in here. Yeah, 9 rounds of 308. The scope, the sling. When I have the magazine in with no rounds, and the magazine, detachable box magazine, it goes in the bottom here. It came with a 4-round flush-fitting magazine that would, fit flush in a rifle. Later on, I got this from Savage, the 10-rounder made for the FP10, and that's what I generally keep in the gun, the 10-rounder. The gun's lightweight, very useful, easy to shoot. When I hike in the woods and post my property on the woods, I usually grab this rifle. It's a handy gun. I do have bear here. I do have rattlesnakes. I do have coyote, and I have these coyote hybrid things that are, I think they have some wolf DNA. They're bigger than coyotes. They're roaming around here too, and I've seen 1 or 2 of them. But not that I want to shoot anything out of season, but I don't want chunk taken out of me neither, so I'm in the woods by myself. I take the rifle with me. From a self-defense point of view, you can make accurate shots 200-300 yards with this. All the demos I'll do, I'm going to do offhand mostly, except when I do the accuracy from the bench at the 100-yard target. But it's meant to be shot offhand, or improvised field positions, kneeling, sitting, squatting. Prone is obviously the most steady, but I'll do it all offhand. So what I hit, I hit. What I miss, I miss. But I can usually ping every plate 0 to 100 yards, no problem, pretty quickly. And depending on the lighting conditions, sometimes, like today, it's the way the sun is, the woods are very dark today. Sometimes you got light streaming in there. So if I can't see the 150s or the 200, I won't bother shooting at them. But I'm going to use 2 ammos for the accuracy test. This is 150 grain Norma whitetail I happen to have laying around. 150 grain jacketed soft point projectile. The box says 2789 out of the muzzle, and they give you energy and velocity figures all the way to 300. 300 yards, it's 1172 foot-pounds and 1800 feet a second. The second ammo, and I'll do the chronograph with it. Actually, I got it in the sleeve. It's this Hornady Outfitter. It's 165 grain CX projectile. It's a monolithic bullet. It's all copper, I believe, with a little polymer tip. Nice nickel cases. And the price really wasn't that bad considering today's crazy prices. I only got that about a week ago. I'll do the velocity comparison between the two, and I'll even fire like a ball round around here. So a couple of ball rounds. I'll do them too. Fire them through the just one over the chronograph. Just to see if it's in the neighborhood of what the boxes state. The Hornady Outfitter states 2610 at the muzzle, and they just give you trajectory figures. 0 to 200 yards is 2 inches high at 100, 9 inches low at 300, and then 426 inches low, and 500 is 54 inches low. But I would say this is a 0 to 300 yard rig. 300 yards is a long way, so you'd be surprised, especially in a forest. You'd be lucky to see past 100 yards, really. And depending on the lighting, because the plates I got at 150, it's almost like midnight back there, and where they're sitting. I can barely see them when I'm standing back at the bench there. And even with the low power magnification, you get a little bit of resolution. So basically at 275 yards, it's like looking with your naked eye at something 100 yards. That's 2 3/4 inch magnification. The 308 Winchester. Oh, one of Cooper's, he basically made the spec so it would lean towards a 308 7.62 Nato. That the round had to have the ability to stop a living target, a big animal of 200 kilos, which is 440 pounds, which would be bigger than mule deer, elk, moose. Moose is a lot heavier than that. I believe the 308 has been used quite successfully over the years on both elk and moose, bear, depending on projectiles. In the modern era here, in the 21st century, you got very high-tech projectiles, and these monolithic bullets are like taking over the scene in the hunting rounds. When I do the offhand shoot, I'm going to use ball ammunition, 7.62 Nato. It's some old West German stuff. I have some ancient Chinese stuff from the 80s. It's copper washed, steel cased crap. It's very dirty, and you get a big muzzle flash too usually out of it when you fire it. I only got probably 100 rounds of that stuff left. I shoot it here and there over the years, but I'll shoot close. If I shoot the plates at 50 yards or whatever, I use that just to burn that up. And obviously the ball rounds are a lot more accurate than a Chinese crap at 100 yards or more. Um, 308 Nato, just briefly. The 308 Nato, 308 Winchester 7.62 Nato was a derivation of the 3006. It was shortened ½ inch and seek to achieve near or equal ballistics to the US 3006, the military cartridge of most of the 20th century, and it did. And it's our standard machine gun and sniper rifle cartridge, although they're moving to other calibers now, 300 Win Mag and perhaps one of 6.5 millimeters. I'm unclear on that, but the 308 Winchester has a reputation in many different rifles of being a very accurate cartridge, inherently accurate, due to its design features, shortened cartridge, short powder column, shoulder angle, and just the magic soup that most 308 rifles generally shoot pretty accurate, especially out of a bolt gun. And I have some. I'm not going to shoot this stuff. I only got 5 rounds of this stuff left. This is Winchester ballistic silver tip, I think it is. It's kind of like a Nosler ballistic tip. Winchester loaded, and they put a black coating on the bullets, I guess for their trademark. That's accurate stuff. I'm almost out of that, but this gun's zeroed for that Winchester 150 grain ballistic silver tip, and it's usually sub MOA off a rest with this rifle. An inch or less. 2 inches or less on any hunting rifle, any type of general purpose rifle like this is good, very good. Especially this. You got a very low powered scope. If you had a scope, you're cranking up to 10 power at 100 yards, doing benching, for group size, that would be more appropriate. I'll use the 10-shot magazine. I'm not going to use the 4-shot. Do my standard test. I'll fire over the chronograph only around the piece. I got new chronographs, radar. I don't have to shoot through screens anymore. So it's nice. It's a handy little gadget as big as this camera. You put it up and it's pretty accurate. I'll do the 2 hunting loads here, the Norma 150 and the Outfitter 165. And I'll probably shoot a ball round over it. And maybe even one of these Winchesters, I'll see. Do a thermal effects test. I'm going to use the Outfitter with the monolithic bullet because I'm interested to see how it performs. 6 inches of water, 3/4 inch piece of plywood, 6 inches of water, another 3/4 inch piece of plywood, more water, more plywood. See what result we get, and if I can capture the projectile. Do 100-yard bench. I'm going to do 2 3-shot groups because ammo's expensive, and I don't want to burn up this factory stuff. I do have some reloaded stuff, but none of it is hunting type ammo. It's all match ammo with Sierra Match Kings. This ain't a match rifle. This is a utility rifle, general purpose rifle, scout rifle, tool for hunting and self-defense. If you're in a lunatic kingdom or restrictive kingdom, this is legal in all 50 kingdoms. Bolt action rifle. And in the end, when you're defending yourself, it's only hits that count. Not making a lot of noise, expending a lot of ammunition. Kind of like a Hollywood movie. Yeah, I'll do the accuracy target. I'll do some offhand at the steel plates, 2 different cameras. Accuracy target, offhand. Comparative recoil. The ballistic pendulum test. I'll do that in one though. I have the 2 cameras running, one on the pendulums and one on me. I shoot the 223 on. I use that gun all the time. I have 2 Savage rifles. The 223 Savage Axis. That's my baseline for all the recoil comparisons with rifles. 193 ball. I shoot at this one plate, and then the other plate I shoot the 308. 7.62 Nato ball, and just the comparative energy smacking the plates, and the comparative recoil. The 223 at a bolt gun is non-existent. The recoil, you don't feel nothing. 308 would be just a tad more. Like I said, this rifle, as outfitted, is weight is 8 pounds 6 ounces. Scope, ammunition, magazine, empty magazine. It's really not a burden to carry around the woods. Do that terminal effects test, and then at the end of it I'll do my summaries also, as usual. All these videos, history, explanation in the beginning, shooting demonstration. Okay, here at the chronograph, I'm going to do a quick chronograph test. I'm only going to fire one shot each because ammo's expensive. I'll give you a general idea of the different velocities. I'm going to shoot 147 grain ball. That's cellular and below manufacturer, 308, 7.62 Nato. And I'm going to do 2 hunting rounds. This monolithic copper bullet from Hornady, the outfitter. It's 165 grain CX projectile. Nice nickel plated cases. It's got like a polymer tip on the bullet. And I got some Norma 150 grain 308 saw point. They call it whitetail. Let's see. I can get it out of the pack. There we go. Kind of like that. So I'll do the Norma first. I'll do the actually I do the NATO ball first, then the Norma, then the 165 grain CX bullet. The camera's on the chronograph. I'm going to load the NATO ball first. I want the camera here. 2578. Next up is this 150 grain Norma soft point. (2739.2) gives you fractions of a foot of a second. Last up's the Hornady CX projectile, 165 grain. $2,623, and that's about what it states on the box. I think the box it says 2,610. Nice nickel-plated brass, though. I have some old Winchester here, 150 grain. It's ballistic silver tip. It's on the sleeve here. I'm just going to fire this one over the chronograph. I have no more of this stuff, and I forget what it runs, but I may shoot it up in this session. $2,759. So those are all good velocities from a 20-inch barreled rifle. On to the next test. $2,739.2 gives you CX projectile, 165 grain. $2,623. That's about what it states on the box. I think the box is 2,759. Okay, going to do my comparative recoil test. At the same time, I'm going to do the comparative energy test. one shot each out of each rifle. The baseline is always the Savage Axis in 223 5.56, 55 grain FMJ center plate, and then I'll use the Savage Model 10 Scout 308, 147 grain, or I'm sorry, the S&B is 150 grain, 150 grain FMJ NATO ball for all intents and purposes on the right plate. The other camera's running. Put these ears on. Take the shot. And minimum minimum energy imparted there in comparison. Oh. All right, right plate for the Scout. There's no recoil in it, 223. And quite a bit more difference there. So we're going to our next item. Okay, I'm going to do a little accuracy comparison. I'm going to use the first three shots will be this normal 158 grain whitetail. It's a jacketed saw point. And the second three will be these Hornady 308 Winchester 165 grain CX copper or monolithic projectile. I got the first three of the Norma, the second three of the Hornady. This one I have to stop to reload. Got two aiming points down there. I'm going to shoot the 150s at the bottom aiming point, and I'm going to shoot the 165s at the upper aiming point on the target down here. The camera's running. In case anybody's wondering why I'm using this wobbly log rest, I have a regular rifle rest. This is just simulating shooting off a log in the woods. Improvised rest. So it'll be steady enough on what I need to do. 100 yards with a 2.5 power scope, 2.75 power, 2 3/4 power. It's not a lot of resolution for precision shooting, but that's what this rig is not set up for. All right. Bottom aiming point. Now the upper aiming point with the Hornadies. Okay, let's pause this, and I'm going to go down and look at the target. Okay, two different bullet weights, two different ammos. Some guns like some ammos, some like other ammos, and the point of impact is going to be different. This is a 150 grain Norma. It's a 3-inch group. Okay. Every shot I took, it felt good when it broke. So the Hornady CSX 1.58 inches. That's a nice group. I like that ammo, and the price point really wasn't that bad. They were $27 a box, and the way ammo is these days, yeah, I only got them last week. I'm going to do a little more experimenting with that. In fact, when I do the thermal effects test, I'm going to do it with the Hornady Outfitter 165 grain CX bullet. I zeroed this gun, this 150 grain Winchester silver tip or black tip or whatever they called it. I don't even have it anymore. At 100 it was zero dead center. So the point of impact shift between the Hornady, if I switch to the Hornady, which I think I will because I have no more Winchester, I'll put that in the sleeve. But I'm going to do some offhand shooting with this, like in scout fashion, at steel plates out in the woods there. I got 10 ball rounds, including 3 of this ancient Chinese steel copper washed. The stuff is old, came in the early 80s, and then they banned it. It's really crap ammo, but I figure I'd burn it up, just shooting plates with it. I'm just going to take one shot off the bench with 1 ball round at the 220 yard plate, just to see if it tags it, because then I'll try and do it offhand with the ball rounds. So I'm just going to do that real quick, and then go out in the woods for the other part of the demonstration. I gotta get the other camera, the overall long range camera, so you can see the plates getting hit. Yeah, right on the money. 220. All right, let me pause this to set up the. I'm back here reshooting the footage I did of the Savage Scout offhand. I'm going to include the other footage after this clip. This camera obviously photographed clear. The downrange camera, hitting the plates was a little fuzzy. You can still see the plates hitting, but I'll include both. We're going to reshoot this with the better camera focused on the plates, and I get 6 shots in the gun. I think the first 3 are the cheap 40-year-old Chinese crap, and 3 7.62 Nato ball. I'll shoot the various steel plates from 50 to 100, 150. If I can hit the 200, we'll see. Maybe the last shot will be the 200. Through this little 2 3/4 inch scope, it's it's a small target. Not much better than what you see with your naked eye. So I'm going to put my ears on. I'm going to set the other camera to running. Okay. Come in this one here. Now I guess I go for the 50. Pepper popper on the left. Get out for the plate at 100. I cannot see the 150s. I think I'll try the 200, and it's about 200 yards from here. Seem to have gone over that one. 85 yards. And one more. Maybe a little 4-inch plate next to it. And that'll be it for our redo on the offhand with the Savage Scout. It's designed for just rapid, say close range to 150 yards, 200 yard, rapid acquisition. I was a little too shaky on the 200 yard plate. Just as I broke it, it went over the top. The crosshairs when it touched off. But one other thing I'll mention, since I did this at a sync, the terminal effects test, very good result, but the second camera, the slow motion got destroyed because the camera got dosed with water, and I think it's on its last legs. So I'll be using this other camera. I just want to have it close up on the water because just too much on the cameras. On to the next thing. I guess I go for the 50. Pepper popper on the left. Get out for a plate at 100. I cannot see the 150s. I think I'll try the 200 and start 200 yards from here. Seems to have gone over that one. 85 yards. And one more. Maybe a little 4-inch plate next to it. And that'll be it for our redo on the Okay, this last little demo, I'm gonna actually move this a little forward because there's a big ass rock here. All right. I think I'm in a frame. Let's come over here. All right, that's better. I got sound footing. Got 10 shots in the gun. Some real old ancient Chinese ball, the first 3 shots, and then regular, I believe it's German, 7.62 Nato, 147 grain. Got the other camera running. I'm just going to shoot a scout like it's supposed to be shot. Offhand, it provides position. Both eyes open, looking through the scout scope. Let me take it off safe. I think we're good to go. Put a close stuff first. Chinese. Torso, 50 yards. Pepper popper. Go for 100. I'm going to try the 150, the little plate. Have to adjust my angle a little bit. I'm going to try, it's about 200 yards from here to 220 yard plate. Yep, smack that. Back at 100. There's an 85 yard plate. Little square one down there on the left. See if I hit the little one. I think it's 4 inches. Oh yeah. 308 hits with authority. Let's see. I think I'll try the 220 again. shot over it. I saw that when I pulled it. That'll be the little offhand shooting demo for the handy little scout rifle. I don't know if the scope view will come through the camera, but it's only 2 3/4 inch, 2 3/4 power. So basically, at 275 yards, it's like looking at something at 100 yards with your naked eye. But it's faster, quieter target, especially if you're moving or hunting in the woods. And it doubles as a self-defense weapon. I'll shut these cameras down and we'll go on to the next thing, which I believe will be a terminal effect test with the 165 grain Hornady CX bullet. So, let's put close stuff first. Chinese. Torso, 50 yards. Go for 100. I'm going to try the 150, the little plate. Adjust my angle a little bit. I'm going to try it. It's about 200 yards. I'm here at a 220 yard plate. Yep, smack that. Back at 100. There's an 85 yard plate, little square one down there on the left. See if it hit the little one. I think it's 4 inches. Oh yeah. 308 hits with authority. Let's see. I think I'll try the 220 again. Shot over it. I saw that when I pulled it. Okay, I'm going to do my terminal effects test. I guess I'll walk this up. Into the terminal effects test. I'm going to use a 165 grain Hornady CX projectile, copper monolithic bullet. First jug of water, 6 inches. 3/4 inch piece of plywood, simulating heavy bone. Another jug of water, 6 inches. Another 3/4 inch piece of plywood. I'm going to try and capture a projectile. These would be like shoulder bones on a big animal. Third jug of water, 6 inches, and 2 more pieces of plywood. Plywood's been shot before. They're all marked where they were shot before. And I get 2 more jugs of water behind it in case it escapes that. I'm going to move this camera back, put it on me taking the shot, and I think I'll be in the picture here. That's our Hornady round and ready to go. It's closer. That was dramatic. I got pretty wet too. Let me pause this, clean it up. Alright, very impressive performance, and I did capture the projectile. I like that round. First jug went in here and vaporized. I did number the jugs because I figured that at least 2 of them would get blown to smithereens. Actually went three of them got destroyed. I think it went in there, blew out the whole back. So 1 jug vaporized, first 3/4 inch piece of plywood. There's the entrance. There's the exit. Nice big hole in there. Went through the second jug. Pretty linear penetration. Went through the second piece of 3/4 inch plywood. That's pretty impressive. Boom. So 2 jugs of water and 3/4 inch piece of plywood. Went through jug number 3. I think it entered here, exited out the back. Less disruption. Kind of went between the 2 pieces of plywood and was laying on the table. I'm going to venture to say I'm going to weigh this for the summary, but that is indeed a nice, perfectly mushroomed rifle bullet fired from about 8 yards. I mean, it doesn't get any more severe stress on a hunting bullet than that. Mushroomed quite a bit. I have to measure that, and you see the rifle marks. Yeah, it's pretty impressive. That would work on a lot of big game animals, elk, obviously deer and elk, and if in a pinch, you could do bears with it. It's all about shot placement, and that's the purpose of the Scout. But the summary will follow this. Okay, I'm back from my summary on our Savage Scout Model 10 Scout rifle with the Burris 2 3/4 power scope. Sometimes in a video I'm saying 2 3/4 inches, but you just get tongue-tied sometimes with all the numbers run around your head. What can be said about the Scout? I think Savage was pretty faithful to Colonel Cooper's concept for such a rifle. It's very handy, useful, general purpose rifle. You could take big game or defend yourself from big game. You're poking around in bear country and should encounter an aggressive bear. Not my ideal caliber for a bear, but it'll do the job, especially with them monolithic projectiles. I was very impressed with them in the tests. First I did the chronograph. Basically it was the velocity that you expect that is stated on the box, 2620 to 2750, depending on projectile weight. 165 grain 308 projectiles. The typical speed is 2600 to 2650 feet a second. That's between the 165s or 168 Match Kings. That's about what they run. Did the ballistic pendulum test, the 223, the other Savage that I forgot I had. The 5.56. In the center of that center plate, there's a hole knocked in it. One from a 7mm Magnum, and the other one from the 257 Weatherby. But the 223 clipped the hole. Hit the plate, but didn't hit it square. Half the projectile went flying through the hole. You can see it on the film. I couldn't see it when I shot it. It just looked a little weird to me. And obviously the engine imparted to the right plate with the 308, 150 grain ball, 147 grain ball. I have some Soviet bloat mixed in with some West German surplus stuff. The S&B is actually reloadable. The West German stuff ain't. It's burned in, primed. The throwaway. Did the accuracy target, which I have right here. The 2 loads. The 3-inch group is the Norma. The Winchester that's in the sleeve, the 150 ballistic silver tip, or it's like a nozzle ballistic tip, it's centered and generally shoots MOA or less with that ammo. This ain't bad. This is pretty good. This is the Hornady 165 CSX, 1 5/8 inch group. I do like that projectile, so I'm going to zero the gun for the Hornady since I have a couple boxes of it. Did the offhand plates. I had a problem with the other camera. As I do these out of sequence, I did the terminal effect first, and the camera, I lost the slow motion footage, that one little cheap camera. It got destroyed by the water blast. Even though it was back like, I don't know, 8 yards or so, just the way it exploded, the water hit it and wiped the camera out. I got to run it again, but it's fuzzy, so I won't be using that camera again. I'll use my other bigger camera. And if I do a close-up, I won't have any slow motion on the water. But I'll set the camera back 15 yards, so it's got a real clear lens and zoom. The terminal effect test was extremely impressive. With that Hornady, I put it in an empty case, but there's the bullet perfectly mushroomed. I measured it like 6 different directions, and it ranged from 0.575 thousandths to 0.594 thousandths. So 57.5 to almost 59 caliber expanded. You know, it's in complete length there. You can see the rifling on it. I weighed the projectile. It was 163.5 grains retained weight. So it lost 1.5 grains. Not even 1%, 0.5% maybe. And that was probably the polymer tip. But to be shot at full velocity at a target like that, the analog for animal or or human target, bad guy, water, plywood, you get different mediums. A lot of stress on a bullet, and that bullet performed really well. I was very impressed with that, and the price point was pretty good for off-the-shelf hunting ammo, nothing exotic. Did the offhand test. Again, I had a problem with the second camera. It's fuzzy, so I reshot another 6 shots shooting the Scout offhand at the various steel plates. My other camera I use, it's got a long range lens. I can really zoom in on stuff, and it's pretty clear. I use that, and then I included the footage of the prior shoot hitting the plates. It's really easy to hit the plates with this setup, with the Scout setup. I shoot all rifle scopes with both eyes open anyway, but this makes it really easier. The crosshair is just kind of self-imposed on your vision, out on the target. And fortunately, my right eye is my dominant eye, and I'm right-handed, so you run into problems if your left eye, cross-dominant there. But that's another subject. They did a really nice job on it, and I think Savage has 2 versions of the Scout. One with the regular synthetic stock, like this, and I think they have a Magpul version with a Magpul stock with aluminum bedding block. You pay a little extra more for the Magpul stock. Personal preference, and I believe they include 10-round magazines with both of them rifles from the get-go. Unlike, I had to buy, I think the magazine was like $55 or $60 when I bought the 10-rounder. Probably 3 or 4 years after I had the rifle, they come out with it, or they had it. If you're going to acquire some type of utility rifle, it's good to have it in one of the U.S. military or NATO spec calibers, 5.56 or 7.62 Nato, 5.56 223 Remington, 308 Winchester / 7.62 Nato, in a bolt gun. The ammunition and components tend to be cheaper because of the massive amount of ammunition out there. You can get surplus ammunition to fire out of your rifle, and if things really, there's some kind of crisis and things broke down bad, you're likely to find 308 and 5.56 floating around rather than some esoteric caliber like 300 Weatherby Magnum or 257 Weatherby Magnum. That's something to keep in mind. And as far as self-defense, You know, if you needed a rifle to defend yourself, it would serve the purpose. You know, I'm sure many people have the fantasy they're going to get an infantry battle with you know, 20 guys in a, you know, unit on unit conflict. You may get something like that in some kind of chaotic breakdown of society, but in most normal things I could foresee, you know, say you're down in one of the border states and you get some of them cartel people smuggling people over, and they threaten you, you know, on your ranch. Nice handy ranch gun like this, you know, you can reach out a lot further than you know, AK 7.62 by 39 fired out of an AK accurately anyway. But like I said, it's a good concept, a you know, interesting concept. I enjoy shooting it, and like I said, it's one of my utility guns I poke around in the woods with. The other one's an old Remington 740 semi-auto 30-06 deer rifle. It's all beat to hell, but it's good for knocking around and truck gun. So that's about all I got today with our. Oh, I brought my trigger pull gauge. I didn't pull the trigger. Let me reset the thing here. Forgot to do it in the intro, but I've done it before, and it's about, runs anywhere from 2.5 to 2 3/4 pounds. Pull. All right. Oh yeah, the hair over 2 pounds. It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing how they did that, the accurate trigger. And it's a really nice, you know, trigger. I believe they put that on their precision rifles too. So that's all I got for today. I'm Old Gun Guy. Like and subscribe, and have a good evening.